The lunchtime whistle and the morning's finally done. I'm jumping in my car, I'm gonna have a little fun. The Doghouse Network's on my radio dial. Big Dog's taking care of business for a while. Listening to another station I don't understand. Nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
Give us a call, Steve.
He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. They go up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land. Nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Somebody respond.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a special hump day in the Doghouse. We are at Blue Oak Barbecue for a little basketball and barbecue with UAH Hoops. Coaches Alan Sharp from the women's team and Mick Hedgepeth from the men's team are here, along with some select players. They are here as well, and supporters of the program. This is an event that is open to the public, so there is a nice little crowd that is gathered over here at Blue Oak Barbecue to hear the coaches and the players address them. And Coach Hedgepeth will be joining us here in just a few moments, so we'll hear from them. In fact, both coaches will hear from at some particular point in time in the show. Plus, Steve Moulton is here as well. He is the longtime broadcaster of UAH basketball, coming up on, some 20 years or so. I've been saying that Steve does UAH basketball. I've been saying it for 15 years, that he's been doing it for 15 years, and he's been doing it for like 20 years now. And, man, I'll tell you what, the Charger men are ranked number 4 in the country now. They're 22-1 overall. They're 17-0 in the Gulf Coast Conference, Gulf South Conference, sitting comfortably atop the standings. And, they dropped their first game of the season and been on a 22-game heater since then. The women, by the way, are second in the conference at 14-3, 19-4 overall. And so Steve Moulton is here with me right now as we wait for Coach Hedgepeth to come over here. But been a great winter over on the on campus over at UAH, hasn't it?
2 first-year head coaches, too. Both the men and women's coaches are first-year head coaches with a ton of experience. And Alan Sharp, head of the women's team. That is a heck of a turnaround. And they like to shoot the three, but they're starting to become more of a down-low team here lately. They won in overtime at Mississippi College. But, Lily Wilkin just got career point number 1,000 on the men's side. I mean, what can you say? It has been we thought this was going to be a better than average year, but I didn't think anybody anticipated 22 in a row, a school record in the previous record was 20. Yeah. So that the train keeps on chugging, and with 2 home games this week with CBU on Thursday, that's tomorrow, and then Union. Senior Day on Saturday is going to be special because this is a very special group of seniors.
On top of all of that, it was a huge night in the SEC last night as Auburn and Alabama took care of business on the road at Vandy and Texas to set up that epic showdown coming up on Saturday in Tuscaloosa. It'll be a 1-2 matchup.
1-1.
Regardless of what poll you prefer, Auburn number 1 in the AP, Alabama number 1 in the coaches. So it's a 1-1 matchup. I like that.
Chris Stewart on Monday, and he called it 1 versus 1.
Yeah, so 1 versus 1.
That.
And I like that. Kennington Lloyd Smith III covers the Tide for the Athletic, and he's coming up at the bottom of this hour. And then David Moulton from Miller and Moulton in the Morning will join us at the top of the one. By the way, we welcome those of you that are watching on WZZN TV, our YouTube channel, and on X as well. You can check that out if you haven't yet, as well as our listeners on 97.7 ESPN, the app, and those that are listening over the air in Winchester, Tennessee on ESPN Winchester. Lines are open at 256-576-4977. We'll see when we can get to those phone lines, though. You can text the show as well at 732-9TA-SHOW, 732-982-7469. That is a great way to communicate with us. My X feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The Zone is on X at 97.7 ESPN, and you can go ahead and follow at ESPN Winchester as well. And speaking of apps, go ahead and snag not only the Zone app, but the Talk Radio WZZN app for more great programming. And, of course, you can snag the new ESPN Winchester app as well for all their great content. And don't forget about your Big Zone deals. And we have more coming up this week as well on Big Zone deals. And you can find the link to that at 97.7 ESPN.com, and you can chow down, or you can snag some great golf as well for half price right now. And there's more deals being added every single week. All right, we are joined on location right now by Mick Hedgepeth. He is the first-year head coach of this basketball team. As I said, 22-1. So, Coach, first of all, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thanks so much for having me. I'm great. We've got brisket, barbecue, and basketball, so can't ask for much more right now for lunch.
You can't ask for much more. You know, they do such a great job here, as well with that. And I know they feed you guys over there at the school, as well, which is really good. 22-1. So the burning question is, what the hell happened in that first game of the season? Pretty good team, Nova, right?
They are a good team. It was one of those situations that was a really high-level basketball game, back and forth, lead changes. A lot of times in those type of games, a team loses the game.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like either team lost the game. I feel like, both teams deserved to win. It was one of the higher-level games I've been a part of. And even though we lost, I do think it just was so much new with our team, an entirely new staff, and playing some similarities from previous years, some differences. I think it gave us some confidence in a way, even after a loss, that, hey, what we're trying to do is effective, and we can all continue to buy in. And we've had a lot of growth from that moment.
Yeah, I'd say, right, you're on a 22-game heater. I think that's a school record. I mean, that's incredible. And there's a pretty good chance that you could see Nova again down the road, and how do you keep the kids focused on, 23 down and 1 to go type of mentality? Because, it gets pretty heady stuff here. They haven't lost a game in 3 months, so it's, how do you keep them locked in and focused that, the issue at hand is the issue this week's game?
It's been a challenge, to be honest with you. Overall, my general philosophy is, after a win, be really hard on the guys.
Yeah.
And after a loss, maybe a little bit more encouraging and teaching and that type of mentality. But kind of when this happens, that can make for a miserable season, right? So, early in my career, I would really be worried about what our mentality wasn't. I'll be worried that maybe we're complacent, for example, or not as focused on the next game as we need to be. And I would almost speak those things into existence with our team. I've really focused on speaking what we need to do. Hey, this is what we need to do in between the lines, the next game, from a preparation standpoint, video, practice. This is what we need to do. And then, good players make good coaches, and we have a really good group of players, both on and off the floor, and veteran guys who have been there and understand, I think, how to handle a lot of different situations and circumstances. So that has been very beneficial as well.
Well, Coach, early on, something that really impressed me was I think it was a huddle in the McKendree game where you were just listening to the guys. And given the level of experience that you guys do have, and just where did you learn that, one, and two, how much feedback do you get off of this squad?
Well, I played for Coach Rick Bird at Belmont. He did that occasionally with us, especially when we were a veteran team who had been there. And I think from a coaching standpoint, it's hard to see everything, right? We all try to and we all want to, but they're the ones out there playing, and they can see things and feel things sometimes that we can't. So if you really trust a group, I'm not saying I listen to every bit of feedback they give us or that's what we do, but it's still valuable, right? And sometimes we do that can affect a play call or a situation. I recall one, I won't give the specific situation, but Tommy said, hey, I don't think that play would be great because they really pressure me. It'll be hard for me to make that pass. So we called an audible and called a different play because of his feedback, and it worked in a key moment in a critical game. So, I think it would be foolish to some degree, not to ever ask for the players' feedback.
You mentioned Coach Bird. Do you have much communication with? I mean, you couldn't have a better mentor. I was in Nashville for a number of years, and when you were playing there, and
he's been to Spraggins.
Yeah. Do you have much communication with him at all? Do you lean on him, from a coaching standpoint?
I do. We talk quite a bit. He is actually on Synergy, which is our video system that every college team uses in the country to share and look at video. He is listed as a volunteer assistant coach for the Chargers, so he can have access
Nice.
and look at our stuff, which is a lot of fun. So he'll call me and talk through. He doesn't worry so much about defense. He'll look at our offense, and we'll navigate some of that together. He's been to 2 games, came to Spraggins for a game, was at Trevecca in Nashville. So yeah, I'm really fortunate to have him as a resource.
Well, you're young enough. When I was doing research for the show, I figured, let me look you up on Google and see what I can learn more about you. And when you put your name in Google, comes up basketball player. Doesn't come up basketball coach. Comes up basketball player. So yeah, I know, but still basketball player is what it says. So, but yeah, I mean, that time there and being able to transition here, and then you get. Just talk about like last night when you see Chaney Johnson. I know you didn't coach him here, but you see there's a kid that played here. He's dropping 20 on Vandy last night off the bench, shooting lights out. He's been very, a big asset, certainly for Auburn. But that's got to be something that gives your guys that are here a certain level of confidence too, because you say, look, guys, you're on this floor. How much different? This kid was here 2 years ago on this same floor, and now he's over there dropping 20 for the number 1 team in America.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'll start with the age comment. I know I am getting older because for about the first, up to this point, 10 years of my career, I would get the question, so what position do you play?
Well, you're very youthful.
Are you on the
looking.
team?
Yeah.
I have not gotten that question one time this year. So I know that, the playing days are pretty far behind me now. And then, yeah, we had actually our alumni, over 20 alumni, hosted us for a dinner last night. And we were sharing stories and time with them. And it was really meaningful. And I think something that makes UAH basketball so unique. So many local guys, because Huntsville has really grown and all the job opportunities, and they really love each other, love the program, love giving back. I mean, they literally out of pocket just, contributed to feed our team dinner. So how many places does something like that happen just totally on their own initiative? They put together the effort to create a little UAH trivia game show for our team, which was a lot of fun. And plenty of jokes in there as well. And then we all watched Chaney, to your point. So he was on the screen the whole time. The guys were super excited. And, I was here this summer, my first summer at UAH, and I see Chaney in the gym every morning early, 7 a.m. He's there. So I think that shows you got to have, obviously, to make that big of a jump, a little bit of luck. I think he grew 3 or 4 inches in his time here, but also, I mean, that doesn't happen by accident. I think they've all been able to see his work ethic, his dedication, his mental approach, his approach in the weight room, and totally changing his body physically to prepare him to play at that level. And it's encouraging for all of us. So really, really thrilled for Chaney and the success that he's having at that level.
On the subject of bigs, though, I mean, tell me just plan-wise with Daniel Saylor, I'm speaking of, what was the overall plan heading into the season, and just what kind of growth have you seen out of Daniel, Coach?
Well, I knew based on watching video from last year and all of Daniel's clips that he is unique. The combination of his size, but not only that, there's plenty of big, strong guys, but he has really good hands. He can catch, and he has really good feet. And I think that is what makes him unique, along with his vertical explosiveness, right? And his ability to be so far above the rim. But I think that makes him a serious roller lob threat in ball screens.
Yeah.
Serious threat, especially when you combine that you've got Tommy or Luke or Blake coming off of that ball screen and the gravity that they draw in one of those scenarios. So we knew we wanted to play with him a little bit more in those situations, and we knew that he had the ability to be an incredible rim protector defensively, which is we all talk about his offense, and he just had a career high in 25 and 13. He's almost averaging a double-double.
That's right.
He has been incredible on that end, but I would argue he has been just as impactful defensively, protecting the rim, blocking shots, rebounding, communicating. So watching the film, our plan was to try to put him in as many successful situations that fit his strengths. He's not a great shooter. He's not a great handler. There are things that he has weaknesses, right? But try to maximize his strengths on both ends. He's, to his credit, I would say he's exceeded our expectations.
And I still have yet to see him practice that shot at Valdosta where it just kind of he had it on both sides of the ball, and it just kind of it went through. It never hit rim. It never hit rim.
Yeah, Coach Beth with us here. All right, so when you're 22-1, you feel like, man, we got everything going the right way. You're scoring 88 points a game. You're scoring a lot of points. You're beating people up pretty good. If there's something you as a coach continue, what can you do better? As you look at it, when you run and gun a lot, you score a lot of points like that. You tend to turn the ball over a little bit. Maybe you're turning it over more than you like, or whatever. What is it that you work on and focus on when the team is this good?
Well, we try to approach and evaluate every game the same way, win or lose. Growth mentality, process oriented, all the coach speak type things, because I really believe in it. And I do think because of that, we're a better team now than we were in December. Mm-hmm. We do need to continue to value the ball. And that's a hard thing when you do want to play faster. You do want to advance the ball. You are throwing lob passes to Saylor in the post, for example. That's a hard pass. He's got a defender fronting him. The rim's behind him. You've got to thread the needle in those types of passes. We talk a lot about all turnovers are not created the same. Throwing the ball out of bounds because you lob one to Saylor, for example, that's not a bad turnover. You're setting your defense. You're getting back. But, there are some other situations where that's not as good of a decision, right? And then I would say we need to – there's been a little bit of a theme of us not – finishing games as well as we would want. Maybe we get a margin in the first half, but lose the second half by 4 or 6 or 8 points. That's happened numerous times. So just continuing to have the same urgency and approach those situations in a little bit of a better way, I would say, is an area we can improve upon.
Yeah, it's like a necessary evil. I mean, there are a lot of listeners that are fans of Auburn or Alabama. They see the same thing, and you see the turnovers. But they're playing so up-tempo. It's almost like you're going to have to factor in some of that. It's just, it's the double in the details. Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming over here. I know that some of the fans want to talk to you. Maybe they got questions for you, but I appreciate you spending some time with us. And of course, UAH basketball has been a big part of the radio station since its inception, since 2009, and now a 22-game win streak that's taking it to the next level. And who knows where this could go? I know it's just going to keep your eye on the ball, but we're kind of already talking off the air. We've been talking about how far can these guys go, and it's going to be a very, very exciting rest of the way here.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. For all of you listeners, we're at home tomorrow, 7:30. We're at home Saturday at 4:00, and then we're also at home to start the postseason. We've clinched a home conference tournament berth, which will be on March 4th. Hopefully with a double header with our women's team. They'll play at 5:30. We'll play at 7:30, and I really don't think anyone who has not yet been to a game would be disappointed with the product we put on the floor, and we would love to see you there.
And general admission upstairs is free.
It is free.
Wow.
It is free.
Wow.
Pester me upstairs and just I'm kidding.
You guys have drawn pretty good at home, though. Better than on the road than some of the other places. So it's it's catching the fever is catching over there. So March Madness will kick off, with UAH at the beginning of March. So that'll be good stuff, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. It's good stuff there. All right, we got a lot to get into on the SEC night last night. But back in Command Central, he's playing the Platters That Matter and the Stacks of Wax and answering the phones, keeping us on the air. He's already been doing, Charger baseball as well. Played Charger baseball. Got a little baseball in the show today as well. He's the one and only Jumpin' Joe Hunk.
Who I am?
No, who is this?
Who is this guy?
Who in the blue hell are you? I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I'm very important. I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I don't like violence. I'm a businessman.
You want to boo me? Fine.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies close.
You come at the Kings, you better not miss.
Know your role and shut your mouth. You jabroni.
And show for y'all. Got a damn good show.
I will not wear that body armor.
Hey, Thom.
Hey, Joe. Boy, I'll tell you what, some good activity going on over there at your alma mater, and it starts with this basketball team, number 4 in the country, man. Pretty heady stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, no, they are. They're one of the best shooting teams in the country. The women are one of the best shooting teams in the country. They have actually shot and made probably more threes than over half of the men's SEC basketball teams so far this year. Like, that's how good of shooters that they are as well. So both teams are playing well.
You mean they shoot it better than Tennessee did last night against Kentucky, where Tennessee couldn't throw it in the ocean? I think there were 3 of 18 from downtown.
6-year-olds that are playing on 8-foot goals shoot better.
It was a great night, though, of SEC basketball last night. I don't know how much of it you watched, but, I mean, that Auburn-Vandy game, I switched it back. I was going back and forth between Auburn-Vandy and Kentucky-Tennessee, and Auburn breaks out 13-0 to open that game, and I just jumped over to Tennessee and Kentucky, which was like a rock fight. And the next thing I know, I see the thing on the bottom of the scroll, and it says 34-32, something like that. At the half, Vandy fought all the way back against Auburn before Auburn just pulled away in the second half.
Yeah, no, Auburn needs to play better than what they did, and it goes back to kind of like what you're talking about, shooting threes. You got to shoot better from the 3-point line. They let Vanderbilt stay in it way too long, a lot longer than what they should have. And I don't need Janai Broom shooting 3-pointers. I just need him getting to the rim, getting fouled, going and making the free throws.
Yeah, and so Vandy didn't have to worry about instituting their new court storming rule. Have you seen it? And Vanderbilt leads the SEC in fines for storming the field or storming the court. They have been fined $850,000 this year. They stormed the field against Alabama when they beat Alabama in football, and they stormed the court when they beat Kentucky and when they beat Tennessee at home. And by the way, it's the first time in the history of Vanderbilt where they beat Kentucky and Tennessee while Kentucky and Tennessee were in the top 10. It's the first time they've done that in a season. So what they did, I don't know if you saw this story, what they did was they made a plea to the student body that they cannot storm the court until 1 minute after the final whistle. So for 1 minute, they allow the teams to get off the court, because the rule in the SEC is you get fined if you storm the court while the teams are on the court. So they're going to give the teams 1 minute to get off the court, and then you can go ahead and storm. And I know they thought that they were going to have a chance to do it again last night, but Auburn said not so fast, my friends.
Oh, no, they absolutely they took care of them in the second half. That was what was most important. It shouldn't have been a 2-point game at the half, but it was.
Yeah, and you talk about shooting. Are you kidding me, Alabama? I mean, are you kidding me? They blow out Texas by 23. They drop 100 in a conference game for the 5th time this season. They shot 62% from the field and 59% from downtown. There were 17 of 29, Joe. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous.
No, Texas, you would have thought Texas would have played much better, but, I mean, literally all Alabama did was let Trey Johnson shoot, and then they said, all right, we'll just stop everybody else, because there's only one other player that actually was even scoring in double digits outside of Trey Johnson, and those two players combined for, I think, 43 total points of the ones that Texas scored. Yeah, they just let everybody else just die on the floor.
All right, we're going to talk to Kenny Smith about that, and we'll do that next. We'll get into some other SEC stuff with him. We are live on location here at Blue Oak Barbecue with a little basketball and barbecue at UAH Hoops. We'll be back with Kennington Lloyd Smith next, right here on the Thom Abraham Show.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Gunner's Landing is one of the Tennessee Valley's finest golf experiences. Just 35 minutes from downtown Huntsville, Gunner's Landing's 18-hole championship jewel is open to the public 7 days a week. Located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Gunner's Landing offers you a golf experience like no other. With beautiful Lake Gunnersville views throughout the round, Gunner's Landing is golf the way nature intended. Gunner's Landing's Club Repair Shop offers a full range of services, including re-gripping and adjusting the lofts and lies of your clubs, even putters. Since the work is done in-house, your clubs will be returned to you in a timely manner. Unmatched in the North Alabama area, it is Gunner's Landing. Schedule your tee time today at gunnerslanding.com. That's gunnerslanding.com.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
And welcome back out to Blue Oak Barbecue, where we broadcast today. I got to ask about the method of the madness here. There's an Alabama banner hanging from the rafters. There's a Auburn banner hanging from the rafters. And between the two of them is an LSU banner. And I think the reason is that this place there is out of New Orleans. So I got a feeling that there's a little bit of Louisiana love going on there with the some of the owners out of New Orleans. So that must be why the LSU flag is prominently displayed as well. And there's a New Orleans Saints flag as well. So now we're figuring it out. And during that break, during that commercial break, I think Alabama just hit 3 more 3-pointers. I'm not 100% sure, though, but Kennington Lloyd Smith of The Athletic covers all things Alabama, and he joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Kennington, welcome back to the show, man. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Okay, 59% from 3-point range. Are you kidding me? 17 of 29 last night. Have you ever heard of that kind of a number before?
No, this was actually a historic performance in terms of how many points they scored, over 100, the shooting from the field, the 3-point line, doing it on the road. It was some type of metric that no team in quite a while has shot like that. And it was crazy. And I mean, the most encouraging thing if you're an Alabama fan is the resurgence of Jaren Stevenson.
Yeah.
He's been, a point of contention this year, obviously struggling on the offensive end, giving his all on the defensive end and other things. But last night you saw the Jaren Stevenson that propelled Alabama over Clemson in the tournament last year. And the one that fans thought they were going to be getting for the majority of the season. So if this is a launch pad game for him, then you have to start thinking about Alabama feeling at another level.
Yeah, I mean, he was 4 of 5 from downtown. He was 7 of 8 from the field. He was 4 for 4 from the free throw line. They shot as a team 62%. I mean, I know a lot of that is led by the 17 for 29 from the 3-point line, but they were making all their shots. I mean, it was just 62%. I mean, that's just crazy. You don't ever hear of something like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it was, this is just kind of, Alabama finding its way. Like at the beginning of the year, it was almost like a question of, is this going to be a good shooting team, with kind of how they were kind of struggling a bit. Now they're starting to catch fire, and obviously they can win in different ways. Pounding the paint, they can get to the free throw line. At times they can win by being dominant defensively. So just a very layered team, and that's what makes this team so fascinating compared to last year. This year you feel like they can win in a few different ways, and I think that's why they're having more regular season success this year than they did last year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then they also were able to be focused on this game because it would have been easy. It's an unranked Texas team. They've got a couple of nice wins certainly this season, but they would have been. I mean, with Auburn looming in that 1v1 game. All right, I want to call it a 1-2 game depending on which poll you want to look at, but I guess it's a 1v1 game. With that looming on Saturday, you would think that it would be human nature to kind of peek ahead to that, but man, that wasn't the case at all.
Yeah, and the thing about it that's the most impressive is if you look at the players in that game that led last night in Texas, it was Jaren Stevenson, it was LeBaron Fallon, it was Aiden Holloway, young players leading the way. It speaks to the maturity kind of this team that even like the young guys on the team aren't peeking ahead. They're focusing now. Obviously, that's led by Spears had 18 last night. He was really good also. So him being the veteran and setting the pace was important. But it just seems like it's a really dialed-in team, a mature team, and that is going well for them. And it's going to set up for a great matchup on Saturday.
Kennington Lloyd Smith with us here, and as we talk about this game now that is coming up on Saturday, and you just wanted to make sure that both teams took care of business. If you're just a basketball fan, right, you want to just make sure that both teams took care of business last night, which they did. And the Auburn game was interesting because Auburn sprinted out to that 13-0 lead, and then that was a 2-point game at the half, and then Auburn pulls away in the second half of that game. Just talk about the matchup and the styles here of these two teams that we're going to see in Tuscaloosa on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a pretty awesome matchup. And two experienced teams that are led by veteran players, but also have an influx of young talent. You have obviously the Aiden Holloway piece of it, which is going to be fascinating. But I'm really interested in what Janai Boom is going to do against Alabama's front court. Last year, that was Alabama's kind of glaring weakness, is that Grant was playing undersized 5 that didn't have a lot of depth. Now you have Jaren Stevenson, you have Aiden Sorrell, you have Chris Moore, you have Brand Nelson, you have all of these options and all this size in the front court. What is Janai Boom going to be able to do against a matchup like that? And then obviously the turnover battle. That's been the thing that's been plaguing Alabama. If they turn the ball over against Auburn and give Auburn extra shots, it's going to be very difficult to win this game. Because that's what Auburn does. They turn you over. They create way more shots than you. And, they're able to set the pace that way. So those are the two things that I'm going to be looking for. And whoever wins those two battles, I think will go to the
Talk about the, not overemphasizing this game, because as important as the game is, I mean, it's not the be all and the end all. I would think that it's very, very important towards, getting to the point where you can win the regular season title, and that'll change, I think, the mentality of how a team takes in, Nashville and in the SEC tournament. But, I mean, you could get caught up in putting more emphasis on this game than is necessary, right? I mean, it feels like these are both 1 seeds, one way or the other, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they are both 1 seeds. I think, just the game itself, I think is big enough, like without the other implications. Like just the fact that it's Auburn and Alabama, it's the Iron Bowl, and arguably the biggest Iron Bowl game in history, 1 versus 1. I think that alone is enough for it to be a really big game. And like in a weird way, if we're talking about larger implications, this is kind of like the tiebreaker game. Like I know they're going to play again at the end of the year, but whoever wins this game is going to have a leg up as they both go down. The stretch is Bama's stretch is brutal. Obviously, they have all in teams down the way. Auburn has Arkansas and Georgia on their schedule, so a little bit more manageable. They're still going to be tough games. So you feel like if Auburn gets this win, they're going to be, the driver's seat for the regular season championship. So big game for both sides to kind of get that leg up. But the fact that this is the state of Alabama being highlighted like this in the basketball and not football is jarring, and I think that creates enough excitement. So
I assume, I mean, this has never happened before, right? With this matchup. I mean, there's been times when both teams have been very good, but we have never seen something like this before, where both these programs were the 2 top programs really in the entire country.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what's so crazy about it. It's like there were so many years of the Iron Bowl being what it is in football, and arguably one of the greatest rivals. And now the Iron Bowl of basketball is now starting to ascend as one of the bigger rivalries in college basketball. It's a testament to Bruce Pearl and Nate Oates. And I think more than anything, for obviously, the players on the court, they want to win, and so do the coaches. But I think for us as spectators, just the historic moment that is going to be on Saturday is what sticks out. The fact that Alabama basketball is going to be highlighted in this way with College Game Day and the national broadcast and all of that. It's just it's a historic moment, truly. So I hope everybody appreciates the moment, and I think the game is going to live up to the hype.
Kennington Lloyd Smith with us here talking to Alabama Auburn coming up on Saturday, and you mentioned game day being there. My guess is that they're going to drop that Iron Bowl of basketball thing out there several times, throughout that day. I know you have said it a few times. I am one of the old school guys that bristles a little bit at that. I'm like, there is no Iron Bowl of basketball. There's one Iron Bowl. In fact, I don't even know if there's an Iron Bowl of football anymore. The Iron Bowl was played in Birmingham, in the the Iron City. This whole Iron Bowl of basketball thing, though, Kenny, I got to tell you, I mean, there are some fans at Alabama that really not real happy with that term. I mean, that could be a question you could put out there on the Athletic is, do you consider this the Iron Bowl of basketball, and whether or not people like that or not?
Yeah. The funny thing is, as everybody knows, I'm from Georgia. I had never heard of that until I moved here. Like, I had never heard of Iron Bowl of basketball. So it was just like crazy because like I see my colleagues, they're tweeting like the acronym IBOB. So I see IBOB everywhere. Like, what the hell is IBOB? So I had to ask somebody, like, what is that? And he was like, they're like the Iron Bowl of basketball. I'm like, oh, why not just call it? Is it not just the Iron Bowl? Like, it's Auburn. That's
no.
Which is just like, so wait. So Alabama and Auburn, just as a series, is not known as the Iron Bowl. It's only for the football game.
Yeah, the Iron Bowl is a football game that was played in Birmingham, in Iron City. I mean, that was the Iron. They haven't had an Iron Bowl since 1991 or something, or 1989, whatever the last. The Iron Bowl was from 48 to 88, and then I think they had 1 or 2 others, after that. But that's why it's like when they, Alabama and Auburn have great gymnastics teams. They have great golf teams. You know what I mean? So it's not like the Iron Bowl of golf when they have a match, or the Iron Bowl. Steve Mold's nodding his head. Yes. Oh, yes, it is. I'm like, no, it's not. All right.
I'm drawing a blank, but I feel like there's some college basketball rival or some college rivalry out there where like all of their sports are under the umbrella of like one rivalry name. I'm sure there is something like that, but That's
well. What about Tennessee? What about Tennessee, Kentucky? So we saw Tennessee. Now they used to play for a keg of beer or something. It used to be whatever it was in football. They called it the barrel game or whatever it was, and then they stopped doing that because somebody got killed and drunk driving after a game, and they had to stop calling it that. But I don't think that it was the whiskey versus bourbon, Kentucky bourbon versus Tennessee whiskey or something like that. I don't think they did. They weren't talking about that last night. They're not talking about that when they played basketball. That was a football thing,
Yeah.
So,
well, if
anybody
wants, if you want to change the name, it ain't gonna hurt my feelings. I didn't even know I honestly did not know what it was until I moved here. So,
although Tennessee,
I'm not attached to it one way or another.
Tennessee shot the three like they had gotten into the Tennessee whiskey before the game a little bit. I mean, my goodness gracious, they couldn't throw it in the ocean. It's
kind of crazy how they just stayed hiding in plain sight as a top 5 team with a couple of these losses. I imagine that'll change, but Tennessee, they're an interesting case. They're kind of like a team that I used to cover in football, Iowa. They have this awesome championship defense, but scoring in the half court is just a real issue for them. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what their ceiling is as we kind of go down the stretch here. But
they're gonna go into the tournament. They're going to go into the tournament like a 2 or a 3 seed, and they're going to get beat in the second round. I'm going to tell you right now, they're not going to make the second weekend of the tournament. Some hot shooting team, because if you can drop 70 on them, you beat them. I mean, it's just I think they're a fraud. I hate it for my listeners that are listening up in Tennessee on the Tennessee affiliate, but I think the Vols are a fraud. I really do. I don't think no watch they'll go win a national championship, but I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, it's going to take some pretty historic shooting turnaround for them to reach that point. They have the defense. That's the thing. They have really good wins, which is why they're ranked so high. But the SEC is just so tough this year that your flaws can be exposed and magnified at a much quicker rate playing this league. And I don't know if you've heard, but the SEC is 82 and 82 against each other.
Yeah.
I don't know if you that's a revealing stat that's going around these days. I don't know if you've heard that.
No, that is. I hadn't heard that, but I'm glad I did now. That's for sure. That's what you get with Kennington Lloyd Smith with the Athletic. They give you all those little nuggets like that. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you as always, and I can't wait to talk next week about how the basketball game, the basketball game of basketball games, works out when Alabama and Auburn get together on Saturday. Man, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
We need a name for it. All right, man. Appreciate you. Joe, are you an Iron Bowl of basketball guy? I mean, do you do Iron Bowl of gymnastics, Iron Bowl of golf? I mean, are you that guy, or do you just like, no, there's one Iron Bowl and that's it?
It made me cringe when he said it. So no, there's no Iron Bowl.
I'm with
basketball.
you. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, we got to come. Maybe we didn't come up with a name for it. I don't know.
Crawdad called in with Iron Rim.
The Iron Rim. Nobody wants an Iron Rim. I mean, Iron Rim, both teams would be shooting 25%. But yeah, that's not a bad moniker, but it's got to be something. It's something else. It's got to be something else. All right, we're going to break it here. When we come back, women's coach, UAH women's coach, Alan Sharp will join us for a couple of minutes, and we'll talk to him about his basketball team next, right here on the Thom Abraham Show from Blue Oak Barbecue.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. For a limited time, GBank is offering a $250 bonus when you open a GBank Visa Signature Card. Apply today at vsin.com/GBank.
Auburn mauled Vanderbilt 80-68 at Memorial Gymnasium yesterday. They covered as 8.5-point road favorites. Alabama 103-80 over Texas, winning their 7th straight and covering the 4.5-point number. Troy today, 9.5-point favorites at Louisiana, 136.5 the total at the Cajun Dome. Qualifying coming up today for the 67th running of the Daytona 500. Todd Gilliland and Kyle Larson 7-1 to win the pole. Joey Logano bet down from 10-1 to plus 750. Michael McDowell 8-1. Noah Gragson and Austin Cedric are both 9 to 1. For more, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
This is Steve Moulton for Lee's Magic Tunnel. Do you live out of your car? Does your car look like you've been well lived in? Then take your vehicle to Lee's Magic Tunnel, located on the Parkway. Any size of the vehicle, it doesn't matter. Lee's will get it clean. Offering many types of washes, but getting it clean inside and out. Ask for the manager special. That's at Lee's Magic Tunnel, located on the Parkway, and located online at leesmagictunnel.com for more information.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Rain continues this afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. At times, we're going to be talking about pockets of very heavy rain across the Tennessee Valley, which could lead to a little bit of localized flash flooding. At the same time, I also think a couple of thunderstorms are going to be possible, especially through the later part of the afternoon, early into the evening. Temperatures climb into the upper 50s and lower 60s. The rain is going to come to an end as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. Temperatures drop into the lower 40s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We are your home for March Madness.
For a second straight year, Ivy Madness has come to March Madness. Yale upsets Auburn, and Yale is on to the second round.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Segment of Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by Owen Home Appliance Center. Well, it's basketball season, but it's also laundry season at Owen Home Appliance Center. So if you're tired of that washing machine just kind of walking around when it's in its spin cycle, or if you're tired of having to dry a load 2 or 3 times, maybe it's time for a new washer and dryer. They got them at Owen Home Appliance Center. You can pick from brands like Maytag, GE, Whirlpool, Electrolux, and, of course, Speed Queen. And those of you that are listening out by Decatur, you might be going to the home show at Decatur next weekend, and you could see Owen Home Appliance Center there. And then in the first weekend of March, when the March Madness kicks off at UAH, there'll be a home show going on at the VBC, and I'll be broadcasting from Owen Home Appliance Center's tent, basically, or their setup there at the VBC on March 7th. Steve Moulton just looked at me cockeyed. I have it in my notes for the meeting. Don't worry. I'll let you know in the meeting. But March 7th, put it on the calendar.
Yeah, this is part of the meeting here.
This is part of the meeting. Yeah, we'll get that in here. All right. We are joined now by Alan Sharp. He is the women's basketball coach at UAH. And Coach, welcome to the set, first of all. Good to have you.
Thank you, Tom. I finally can put a face with a name. I listen to you every day on the radio.
Do I look like I sound at all?
But it's dead on.
Yeah. See, a lot of people, when you a lot of people, when they don't look like you see them and they're on the radio and you look at them and you're like, are you kidding me? That person doesn't look. Me, most people say, yeah, that's pretty much what you look like, what you sound like.
Yeah.
Can't get it out of there. I heard a rumor that before you came here from Wallace State, you were coaching both the men and the women.
I did.
You coach both the men and the women.
I don't know how I pulled that off. I would go after that women's game. I would go into the lounge area and pound a Coke. Pop a Coke, pound it, and just lay on the couch. And then the horn would sound and like, come on, Coach. And here he comes for the men's game.
The only thing I ever heard that's even close to that was Pat Summitt told me one time when I was in Nashville that she used to have her girls. She used to bring in some of the top high school boys teams in Knoxville and have them practice against her girls team, as good as they were, always as great as they were, and it helped them develop. I mean, I think at some point in time they made that against the rules, but they, that's what she used to do. So, but you got to see it. I don't know how you blend that.
It's tough, man. It's tough. It would drain you now. But it was. I enjoyed it. It was different, and it put me here.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
You never know. That hadn't happened. I may not be the
women's
women's
coach. Girls
coach.
practice and you'll be like, oh, what am I supposed to do now? Do you go over see Mick?
I know
say, hey, Mick, you want me to help you out? I mean, you know, what do you think?
Is that it? Is that all I got to do today?
That's all I got. 19-4 on the season, 14-3 in the conference. You've taken care of business at home, 12-1 on your home floor. So as you steamroll towards the tournament, you got feeling pretty good about the way this team has played.
We are. And, from a coach's mindset, you're just always worried about the next practice. You're worried about the next game. And I have on 2 different occasions this year, later in this year, we've stopped and we've addressed the fact with the team of what we've done and kind of how we've kind of flipped the thing around. We've got a new energy, a new enthusiasm for the program. We address it, and then we move on. Let's go get after it at practice, and let's go win the next game. So we're enjoying it. Hopefully, we can keep it rolling.
Steve, you got to clip that, by the way, at the beginning of the interview when he said stud. Exactly what I thought. Stud. I just say that needs to be in a Tommy Brand Show promo.
Well, the evolution, though, of this team, you guys were on a heck of a heater right out of the gate shooting-wise. It feels like this team has evolved a bit, Coach.
It has. We have changed. Early on, there was an injury or two. It changed the lineup. It changed the way we needed to play. And so, yes, it has. And as part of coaching, you just kind of need to adapt to what you have. Don't be stubborn. Don't be hard-headed and say, we're going to do it this way. This is the way coach wants to do it. Let's be smart enough to do what gives us the best chance to be successful. Then we kind of found a niche with the guard play and playing 4 guards around Haley or Lex in the middle. And, it's kind of clicked a little bit. So, and there's not, we're pretty good, but there's still room for improvement. We've got areas where there's games where there's not much room for error, the margin's small, and you've seen that in some of these games here of late where we've had some close games. But that's the good thing about this team is that I feel like we still can get better. That would be tough as a coach. You're coming down the stretch and you feel like, well, what am I going to do today at practice? Like, we've done all we can do. Our situation is one that, like, man, like so-and-so, you got to clean it up. You got to take better care of the basketball. Like, so-and-so, your closeouts are pitiful. We got to get better at that. Like, there's plenty of stuff that we can keep improving upon.
I remember your introductory press conference, and you were looking straight at the women in the room saying, we're going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I mean, you can see the rewards from that, Coach.
It is. Look, sometimes your greatest strength is your greatest weakness. We work and I get after them. And I'll tell you one thing, these girls are tough nuts and they handle tough coaching and we love on them at the same time, but boy, they're tough. And it's kind of shown in some of these games here of late that have gone down to the wire.
That's why I'm going there.
And we've kind of found a way to win those games lately.
You've coached men and women at the same time. You've coached men before, I think, West Alabama, where you were at, and now coaching women. It's kind of a stereotype, but that the women are more fundamentally sound a lot of times. Have you found that the women's game tends to be a little bit more fundamentally sound?
Yes. I will say this. One of the things that I've learned, coaching is important in college basketball. It may be even more important on the women's side to put them in the right places, schematically, what's good, like we talked about, what's good for your team with your personnel. Sometimes there was years, and I'm still the same coach I was when I was at West Alabama that I am now, but there was years at West Alabama. If I could just beat you recruiting, I'm gonna whip you because I'm gonna coach the heck out of them. We're gonna guard hard. If I can just beat you recruiting and get a little bit better players, I'm gonna whip you. Women's game, that's true to a certain extent, but the coaching is so important on the women's side to give them a chance to be successful.
You needed a couple of those. I mean, you're beating people by 15 points a game on average, but it's good to have some of those close games that push you mentally and have the girls come through.
And I'm telling you, and it's been good because this season we've been at a point where, okay, we flipped it. We're doing well. Okay, now can we get over the hump and we didn't beat Lee? Can we get over the hump and beat a Union on Saturday?
Yeah.
Those games that we've had that have been close gives us the confidence going into those games, feeling that we can win, but also as the game plays out, the flow of the game, if it's close down the stretch, we feel like we can get it done.
Wilkin in particular, I mean, that was a bold strategy there out of the gate at Mississippi College, which I think she was 9 for 9 out of the gate.
Offense is not equal opportunity. You get it to your best player and you let her play.
That's right. Touch the ball every time down the floor.
Let's be smart about what we're trying to do. I tell you one thing, if we didn't have a shot clock, she'd be the only one that would shoot it the whole game.
Well,
if we didn't have a shot clock.
I appreciate you coming in and spending a few minutes with us. Keep listening to the show. Call the show. First time, long time.
Yeah.
Call the show. That'd be good.
He's not doing anything.
You got it when the season's over. Then you can call the show. But we appreciate you. Keep up the good work, man.
Good deal. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you. It's a good job right there. All right. We got a break in here. When we come back, David Moulton will join us from Miller and Moulton in the morning on Talk Radio WZZN. And we'll get his final afterglow thoughts about the Super Bowl and some college basketball as well right after this on the Thom Abraham Show.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying roll tide and war eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that
This is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Travis Kelce is in no rush to make a decision on his future. On the latest New Heights podcast, the Chiefs tight end said he'll take some time before deciding whether he'll return for a 13th NFL season. In the week leading up to the Super Bowl, Kelce repeatedly said he planned to play in 2025. He had a quiet game in the AFC Championship game win over the Bills, and he was held to 4 catches for 39 yards in the loss to the Eagles in Super Bowl 59. In the Lakers' final game before the NBA All-Star break, Luka Doncic listed as questionable tonight in Utah, LeBron James probable. Clippers expect the newly signed Ben Simmons to make his team debut either tonight versus Memphis or tomorrow in Utah. The NHL's Four Nations Face-Off, an international best-on-best ice hockey tournament, begins tonight with Canada and Sweden. The United States plays its first game tomorrow versus Finland, 8 Eastern on ESPN.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Want to save some money?
I can take money and I can make it into more money.
Just check out our zone deals online at 977ESPN.com. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog. Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about. Be a dog. God bless the show. You are the Messiah. We need more dogs. This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you. So settle in and get your bark on. Now live, here he is, the big dog, Thom Abraham.
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like Elmer Pearson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? If somebody responds, get off my.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Yeah, welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. This segment of the show is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford's award-winning service department. They are there for your routine checkups to keep your Ford or other brand in perfect working order. And if you have a bigger problem, they can handle that as well with their expert service technicians, quickly diagnosing the problem and using state-of-the-art tools to resolve it. Now, services include preventative maintenance things, like checks on belts and hoses and fluids. And they also do air conditioner work, brake work, and tranny repair as well. They got a great body shop over there. Woody Anderson Ford also offers a mobile service where they'll come out to you. And that convenient mobile program includes services like oil changes and tire rotations or parts replacements, such as windshield wipers or lights. And if you're only available on the weekend or in the evening, they got the Quick Lane Service Department. It's just your one-stop shop to service brakes and tires and batteries. No matter the service your Ford needs, Woody Anderson ensures quick, professional, and exceptional service. All right, we are efforting David Moulton as we speak. We are on location out here at Blue Oak BBQ. We had a program in the first hour of the show where the UAH basketball program met with the fans here, answered some questions, had some good chow, and both coaches, Mick Hedgebeth and Alan Sharp, joined us as well from the men's and the women's teams. And they're both, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a very exciting postseason for both of those programs. Going to be very, very exciting postseason. All right. Jumpin' Joe Hunk mixing the show back in studio. Joe is familiar with Blue Oak BBQ, where I am at. I think he's only familiar with it on location, though, at UAH, where they feed some of the teams and to bring some chow down there. Joe, have you actually been to Blue Oak BBQ here in Mid-City?
Sorry, I was talking to David just a few seconds ago. No, I never have, but they have catered the UH basketball games 2 or 3 times. And each time that they do, they're one of the only places that I try to go back for like second and thirds. And I'll go in between half and I'll go in between games and I'll go anytime I can to go grab some more barbecue.
Yeah, and it's got a New Orleans feel to it. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They got the LSU flag hanging, they got a New Orleans Saints flag hanging, but they also have Alabama and Auburn flags hanging, so they know where their bread is buttered. That is for sure. All right, so is David joining us on the phone? And he is. Okay, so he's going to join us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management hotline on the road. Obviously, once again, David, welcome in. How are you?
I'm good, Tom. What's up?
Are you on the road to cover another University of Jacksonville basketball game here coming up this week?
I am a little doubleheader. I'm on my way to Conway, Arkansas.
Wow.
And right now I'm approaching, is it Dothan, Alabama?
Dothan, Alabama. Absolutely. Yeah. Nice.
And you passed it.
Yeah, and there it goes. And now you approach it and you pass it all in one time. So enjoy that going across the southern part of the state, that's for sure. And it's weird. It's a little serendipitous today because we are at a place called Blue Oak Barbecue where the UAH men's team, which is number 4 in the country, D2, they're number 4 in the country, 22-1. They, along with the women's team here, which is also very good, 19-4, they held a little luncheon here for the fans to come a question and answer period and things like that. And the coach of the men's team is Mick Hedgepeth. He played for Rick Byrd at Belmont, and that was the he played on that Belmont team that almost beat Duke. And of course, you did the FGCU game in the tournament when they did beat Duke, right? Didn't FGCU beat Duke in Georgetown? Was that the same year, like 2013 or something?
They beat Georgetown and San Diego State. Duke was in the same pod, but I think I actually did the ASUN final when Hedgepeth was with Belmont the year before, and they beat FGCU.
Yes, I guarantee that I know you did that game and that he was part of that. So he's now the head coach here at the Huntsville, Alabama, and he's got that team number 4 in the country. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. This job has been a stepping stone job in the past for other coaches, and we'll see how long that they can hang on to him because he's certainly a heck of a coach.
Well, Tom, I love my small college basketball. I'm on my way to Central Arkansas. There's a 4-way tie atop the ASUN. I'll be in Florence, Alabama Friday.
What?
A game Saturday afternoon, of which two two teams that are tied for first, North Alabama and Jacksonville. So, you want to talk small college basketball, Tom, I'm your guy.
Well, I don't mind talking a little major college basketball because the SEC is dominating college basketball. It's been unbelievable. And what a night for SEC basketball last night. And, of course, Alabama and Auburn both taking care of business on the road, setting up an unbelievable game on Saturday night where, Alabama and Auburn will get together and, in a 1v1 game, depending on which poll you like. Both teams are number 1 in the country. Just please don't call it the Iron Bowl of basketball because there is no Iron Bowl of basketball. There's an Iron Bowl, and then there's the Alabama-Auburn basketball game. That's it.
Yeah, Tom, come on. I mean, I know I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb. Think about it, though. In the one poll, the top 4 teams in the country are all in the SEC.
Yeah.
I had on a guy on my show yesterday and said, hey, come on now. At the beginning of the year, did we think the SEC was going to overtake the Big 12 and far and away be the best conference in the country? He said this might be the greatest conference in the history of the sport.
You could make a case. It won't happen this way because there'll be so much attrition, within the league and beating up each other like last night with Kentucky dumping Tennessee. By the way, I think I'm on record. I think Tennessee's a fraud. I really do. I think they're a 2 or 3 seed in the tournament that's going to get beat in the second round and not make it to the second weekend of the tournament. But you could see a scenario where 3, if not 4, 3 number 1 seeds could be SEC teams. We could see that.
Well, it could be Big East from '85 when 3 teams were in the Final Four. 2 of them, Georgetown and St. John's, as 1 seeds. I think it'll be tough to get 3-1, but it's definitely possible right now. If we did it right now, I think we would have 3-1. And you could. I mean, Florida's the Final Four team.
Yeah.
They're built perfectly for the tournament. I'm impressed they're doing what they're doing during the season, and to get a road win against a ranked team when they were down 2 guys shows you just how good they can be. The guy from the field of 68 that we had on our show yesterday morning said that right now they would project 13 teams
That's crazy.
getting bid.
That is crazy. That's like SEC baseball. You know what I mean? That sounds like SEC baseball. You know, where they'll get 12 or 13 teams in the tournament. And look, the 2 that they added, while it's a 16-team conference, Texas and Kentucky or Texas and Oklahoma aren't doing anything. You know, they're not really contributing to that mess that much. This is all about the traditional SEC teams, and it's incredible because it wasn't that long ago where the SEC was struggling to find 6 teams to put in the tournament. That was like 3-4 years ago. We're like, 5, 6 SEC teams getting in? I mean, it was crazy.
Well, was it a year after Commissioner Slide passed away that did the SEC like 8 years ago have 3 bids?
Yeah.
And Sankey brought in a consultant, and the first thing they learned how to do was to kind of tweak the schedule so that their RPI would be better. And then he said, hey, we got to invest in basketball and take a look at the coaches that have been brought into the SEC in the last half dozen years.
Yeah. Well, and I remember when Bruce Pearl went to Auburn, I thought, well, this is the Bruce Pearl, reclamation tour, and he'll be there for 3 years. And if they win at all, they'll get snapped up and he'll be back someplace else. And he won't leave. I mean, he just absolutely loves it. And now it's like when Nick Saban went to Alabama. It's like, oh my gosh, he's not leaving. And then Nate Oates. And we think every time a job opens up for the last 2 years, every time Indiana or some other blue blood, Kentucky was open last year. Oh my gosh, Nate Oates is gone. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm not going anywhere. I don't know how, I'm not saying he'll be there forever. I think Pearl will retire at Auburn. He's now the all-time winningest coach there. I don't know about Oates, but man, he seems very dedicated, and it's amazing to me that Nate Oates and Bruce Pearl have stayed in these jobs as long as they have.
Well, I mean, if you can get players and you turn around and the stands are packed and you're getting paid the top of the spectrum, why leave?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, why leave? If you can win there and get everything you want, why leave? And in a way, Tom, I would argue, stay at a football school. Okay, if by chance you have a couple of 22-10 seasons, people will just say, well, they're not as good as they used to be, but he'll turn it around. Okay,
yeah.
Whereas if you're at a quote-unquote basketball school, okay, if they want to run you off.
Well, why did Billy Donovan leave Gainesville after back-to-back national championships then?
Well, he had the back-to-back natties and stayed 7 more years.
Well,
and he left for the NBA, okay, and hasn't come back. And believe me, he's had the opportunity.
David Moulton is here. Miller and Moulton in the morning on Talk Radio WZZN. Also works with Troy Aikman during the NFL season and Gary Danielson during the college football season. All right, Super Bowl. Look, I gave our listeners Eagles and over, but I didn't see it like that. I mean, nobody could have seen it like that except for my dad. My dad, I said 27-24 Eagles. My father said 42-24 Eagles. It ends up being 40-22. He nails the 18-point spread. Unbelievable. 85 years old. He's still calling games. But 34-0 and just running away and hiding. A little bit similar to what Tom Brady and the Bucs did to the Chiefs when they pounded them in Tampa Bay. But that was stunning to see that kind of a game.
Well, it reminded me, first off, of Seattle-Denver when they did what they did to Peyton Manning and the Broncos in 2013. But I was even thinking, Tom, back to the natty between Bama and LSU when it was late third quarter and Kansas City hadn't crossed midfield yet. I said,
right.
Well, I've seen a game in this stadium where they didn't cross midfield till the fourth quarter. So, I didn't see the 4 pass rushers dominating that line the way they did. I mean, Josh Sweat, who should have won MVP, had 8 sacks in 17 games. He had 2.5 in the Super Bowl. I mean, Andy Reid deserves some criticism. They obviously should have kept 1 or 2 more guys in much earlier. They should have chipped. They should have run a screen or 2. I mean, they didn't do anything to try to combat that front 4, and they paid the price.
You know, and immediately afterwards, everybody's talking about Vic Fangio. I was talking about Vic Fangio. Then I go back and I kind of look at it and looked at some of the film breakdown and stuff. They didn't do anything exotic. They really didn't do anything exotic defensively. They mixed up the coverages a little bit, never blitzed once in a game, got all that pressure, like you say, with 4 guys, and they just completely flummoxed Patrick Mahomes. And the issues that the Chiefs had with the left side of their offensive line came home to roost. We saw it all season long, and finally it all came crashing down.
Well, the other thing that surprised me, and when you hear defensive linemen talk about leverage, this Super Bowl is what you need to think of. Those 2 edge rushers for Philadelphia weighed 265 and 275, and they were going up against 2 tackles who outweighed them by 50 pounds each. And all they did was get their hands under their shoulder pads and push them back into Mahomes and say to number 15, where are you going to go? Because when you go, we're going to tackle you.
Does this feel, I mean, teams, you know, in early days of the Super Bowl, teams would lose the Super Bowl one year, come back, and they'd win it later, you know, and you would see that, you know, in the first 10 years or so of the Super Bowl. You had to go lose one before you could win one. The Dolphins did it. The Chiefs did it. Other teams did that. It feels like this is the Patriots after they got beat and they had to retool things like in the middle of the Tom Brady run. I feel like that there's some serious things that the Chiefs have to deal with. It's not like they're going to fall out of contention, but it feels like the Chiefs are an 11-6 type team next year that gets into the playoffs. Maybe San Diego or maybe Pete Carroll does something crazy at Oakland or Las Vegas with the Raiders. But do you get the sense that this team is needing a little bit of a retooling now, and it might take a couple of years before another wave of Chief Super Bowls? And keep in mind, Andy Reid is not exactly a young guy.
Well, here's the big difference from 4 years ago when the same thing happened to them from Tampa. They had cap room then, and they went and spent it. They signed a left tackle. They went out and got a left guard. Okay, they fixed what was wrong with them. They don't have cap room, you know, and Mahomes is going to count for 60-something million against the cap next year. Now, they'll obviously restructure that, but they have 4 other free agents. They're probably going to have to make a hard decision on Kelsey. Okay, I don't think the Chiefs can be as active as they want to be. In fact, I don't think they'll do much of anything in free agency. We'll see. And so, yes, Tom, because both the Broncos and Chargers have money and better draft picks, and in theory, coaches and quarterbacks. So maybe this is the first time in 10 years that someone is going to seriously challenge the Chiefs in the AFC West.
David Moulton with us here. And yes, those of you that are watching on WZZN TV, I am eating French fries here at Blue Oak Barbecue while David talks. So, you know, I appreciate him giving me a moment. I can pop. He's a 4 or 5 French fry kind of guy. When I get him on, I can get a couple of fries down while he's talking. That's for sure. So Kellen Moore, I joked that the confetti wasn't even done hitting the field yet, and Kellen Moore was hanging pictures in his office, you know, in New Orleans there. He just didn't even go home. He just stayed right there, went and set up his office, and he's ready to go. He takes over there. Vic Fangio is not going anywhere. He's too old. And he does a tremendous job at Philadelphia. But now they have to find an offensive coordinator. Nick Sirianni is an offensive guy. For the most part, he is not very loved or respected in Philadelphia. Maybe this changes some things. I don't know. But it'll be interesting at this late date to see what Philadelphia, before we go ahead and anoint them as, back-to-back Super Bowl champs, what are they going to do with an offensive coordinator? I need to know that first. And I don't know that Jalen Hurts could ever play a game like that again. That was the best game the kids ever played.
Oh, I don't know. His first Super Bowl, he was pretty amazing.
That's true.
That one fumble, but he was amazing in the first Super Bowl. I think he can do that game all the time, quite frankly. 17 to 23, 220 yards. He's got 2 number 1 receivers. He's got one of the 8 best tight ends in the league, and he's got the best or second best offensive line. I think he can do that. If they're going to keep that around him, I think he can do that the rest of his career. Listen, how about this crazy idea? How about Mike McCarthy for offensive coordinator?
Wow. How about Mike? Yeah.
Think about it. If you're Mike McCarthy, you have to decide, are you better off sitting out a year and becoming a head coach, or do I go somewhere where I can win a Super Bowl? Because remember, he ain't getting paid this year. He didn't get fired with years left on his contract. Mike ain't making any money. So now my understanding is there's a guy on the Eagles staff that Kellen Moore wants to bring with him as offensive coordinator, but he'll be coordinator in name only because he won't call the plays. So to me, we'll find out right away, because the Eagles, if they want to keep him, they can offer him the coordinator job where he will call plays.
Does that put pressure, though, on Nick Sirianni? Having a guy that's got that kind of head coaching try. They lose 2 games in October, and everybody's saying, hand the team over to McCarthy.
No. Tom, he's been there 4 years. They've been to the playoffs 4 times. They've gone to 2 Super Bowls.
I agree, but it's Philadelphia. You know how them fans are.
I understand, but by all accounts, they were 2-2. He was screaming and yelling at fans heading into the bye. By all accounts, he became a different coach coming out of the bye. They became a different team. Okay, so I think Nick's fine. The other thing is, Tom, think about it. His first 2 coordinators got head coaching jobs. Now Kellen Moore just got a head coaching job. If I'm out there and I want to be head coach and I'm pretty good, I'm calling Nick Sirianni.
Wow. Yeah, David Moulton with us here. All right, so at the start of the season last year, all right, the Eagles were 18-1 to win the Super Bowl. They were about 10th on the list of teams from Vegas to win the Super Bowl. Dallas Cowboys, Miami Dolphins, it's almost laughable now. Those teams had a better chance to win the Super Bowl. San Francisco was the second favorite behind Kansas City, and San Francisco won like 7 games last year. So if there is a team that you're looking at that's going to be, coming out of the woodwork, and I'm not even saying a Commanders type team that was, they were 100-1 last year, and and then they were a game away. They literally were 100-1, and they were 1 game away from the Super Bowl. Give me a team next year that'll be the surprise team, because it happens every year in the NFL.
Okay, the Eagles are not a surprise team. I know they were. And also, were they 20-1 days after the Super Bowl, or were they 20-1 in May?
They were 18-1 in April of last year.
Okay. So, that's after free agency. Maybe it's before or after the draft.
Right.
Here's my thinking today. If you want to get value, hedging your bet today, how about Green Bay? They're 20-1 today.
I like it.
I think the Packers are going to make a major move or 2 in free agency. They can't keep sending out the youngest team in the league. Okay, no, they got to make a move here. They're the 3rd best team in their division, and Chicago's going to be better. I think Green Bay, they don't dip into free agency often, Tom, but they did for Reggie White and they did for Charles Woodson, and it won them Super Bowl. I think Green Bay, whether it's going to trade for Myles Garrett, whether it's signing some guys in free agency, I think the Packers are going to be very un-Packers-like this offseason and be very aggressive.
Yeah, some of the teams that are around the Packers at that same 18 or 20-1 type deal, the Commanders, the Bengals, a lot of people are still on the Bengals. And then flyer-wise, you go down a little bit. The Chargers at 28-1, Texans 30-1, Buccaneers 35-1. Now you're getting into some crazy numbers, but again, if you just want to put a dollar on a team and say, hey, this is a team that could come out of the woodwork, you wonder about some of those types of teams.
I'm just going to throw a team out there. I'm not a big fan of the quarterback. I am a big fan of the head coach and the moves they've made the last 2 years. What do we think about the Arizona Cardinals?
65-1.
They won 8 games a year ago. For a
Yeah.
team that won 8 games to get 65-1, they got money. Okay, they don't need much, believe it or not. They
Right.
really don't.
So the teams that are with them, all right, so if you're ranking the teams that are at the 65-1s are Seattle, Pittsburgh, Miami, Dallas, Atlanta, and the Cardinals. Those are the teams that are all in the same neighborhood as the Cardinals are.
I think it's difficult to take a flyer on someone in the AFC because there's just too many elite quarterbacks to have to go through. If I'm going to take a flyer, I'm doing it in the NFC. I mean, look what just happened with Washington. I would take a flyer on a Seattle and Arizona. I don't believe in Dallas. I think they're going to get worse. But, that's where, hey, I mean, don't laugh. We talked about this the other day, and somebody suggested if you watched them the last half of the year, how about Carolina?
Wow. I mean, that's the flyer. That's the flyer of all flyers. To your point about the AFC, it's very interesting. The Eagles are the favorite at 6-1 right now in the out of the NFC. But then the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Ravens are all at exactly the same spot, 7-1. So it's like there's 3 really good teams, and you tell me who's going to be the one that comes out of that mix. And then the next AFC team is all the way down to the Bengals at 18-1.
Yeah, I think there's 3-4 teams in the AFC that we're still willing to bet a lot of money on. And I think there's only 2 teams in the NFC that we're fully confident are going to be as good next year as they were this year in the regular season, and that's probably Philly and Detroit.
So what time do you think you'll get to Florence on Friday?
It's a 5-hour ride, is my understanding, from Conway, Arkansas, which is just north of Little Rock, to Florence. So my guess is, I'll get in the car, 9:30 Central. I don't know. I'll probably get there, 3 o'clock.
All right. I'm trying to think if I got a good reason to go to Florence. I might run over there and see you. Run over there and have dinner with you or something. Could happen.
Let me know. Maybe I'll hit you halfway.
Yeah, could happen. It's only an hour and a half for me, so it's not that far. It's not that bad. All right, man. Appreciate you as always. Be safe on the roads out there, and we'll look forward to keeping the conversation going.
All right. Take care, everyone.
All right, thank you. That's David Moulton. Miller and Moulton in the morning on Talk Radio WZZN 5 to 7 every morning. All right, we got a break in here. We'll come back. We are open lines the rest of the day. Pitchers and catchers have reported, and that is still a thing. I mean, I'm trying to slow play it, but the Braves caravan showed up, at spring training, and I'll tell you what they brought to spring training as well. Not player-wise. I'm telling you what they brought gear-wise. We'll do that next right here. The Thom Abraham Show, Blue Oak Barbecue. Back with more in a moment.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. For a limited time, GBank is offering a $250 bonus when you open a GBank Visa signature card. Apply today at vsin.com/GBank.
Auburn Malls Vanderbilt 80-68 at Memorial Gymnasium yesterday. They covered as 8.5-point road favorites. Alabama 103-80 over Texas, winning their 7th straight and covering the 4.5-point number. Troy today, 9.5-point favorites at Louisiana, 136.5 the total at the Cajun Dome. Qualifying coming up today for the 67th running of the Daytona 500. Todd Gilliland and Kyle Larson 7-1 to win the pole. Joey Logano bet down from 10-1 to plus 750. Michael McDowell 8-1. Noah Gragson and Austin Cedric are both 9-1. For more, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Thom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Have you discovered Good Company Cafe? The place for breakfast, brunch, lunch, and so much more. Enjoy brunch all day and pair with one of our many seasonal refreshing drinks, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic options. Choose inside or outside on our gorgeous, spacious, dog-friendly patio and have some fun with friends playing yard games in the courtyard. See catering, to-go options, and lots more at goodcompany-cafe.com. Good Company Cafe, 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Rain continues this afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. At times, we're going to be talking about pockets of very heavy rain across the Tennessee Valley, which could lead to a little bit of localized flash flooding. At the same time, I also think a couple of thunderstorms are going to be possible, especially through the later part of the afternoon, early into the evening. Temperatures climb into the upper 50s and lower 60s. The rain is going to come to an end as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning. Temperatures drop into the lower 40s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Be sure and join us today from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Steve and Wes will be at Baumhauer's tonight. Legendary restaurant, legendary food over at Baumhauer's. So that's where you will find those guys tonight. Go on over there and hang out with them 5 to 7. Segment of the Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by the Orthopedic Center, where thousands of area residents have received world-class care from the Valley's most trusted and experienced group of orthopedic surgeons and medical specialists. Now, they have 13 locations throughout the region, including in Fayetteville. And if you have an orthopedic problem or considering professional care, TOC is the only logical choice. Doesn't matter how you got hurt. TOC is going to get you back in the game. I think you'll agree that the Orthopedic Center is right for you. Stay in the game with TOC. The phone lines are open, 256-5764, 97.7. Pitchers and catchers reported, Joe. And this is a real thing. You know, we always say pitchers and catchers reported, to spring training. Pretty much everybody is in now, all around, whether it's the Braves or the Yankees or whoever it is that you pull for. Pitchers and catchers have reported, and they literally get in about a week, about 5 to 7 days before the rest of the field players are expected to be in. Now, there's some young guys that have been in and are working at positional stuff and things like that. But they really come in and start stretching their arms and start doing their side work and doing that kind of stuff with pitchers and catchers. It's a cliche to say it, but they really still do it, Joe. It's a thing.
I actually have MLB Network going on in the studio right now, and I've had it on all
God
morning.
Bless you. God bless you.
It is. They have been basically wall-to-wall coverage of everybody reporting today. So no, it is. Matter of fact, this is the only thing that I celebrate around Valentine's Day is the fact that pitchers and catchers report.
You say celebrate. It's funny. I got a text from one of my sons, and he said happy pitchers and catchers day as well. I know he's looking forward to it. And there are certain things that happen in the calendar, the sports calendar, that are weekday type things where they're a guilty pleasure. And it goes back long before I became a broadcaster, and it goes back long before even when we had all of the advent of every cable channel in the world and all of that kind of stuff. But Joe, that first day, all right, I think it's somewhere around the 22nd, the 23rd, or the 22nd, or the 21st. That first day of spring training games that are televised on ESPN, all right, when you get backfield guys playing in these games, I love that day. I mean, to turn it on and they're wearing their goofy spring training gear, and you're seeing, you might get one or two innings, out of some of the top flight guys. And then you've got, when number 84 is pitching and the catcher's number 71, and you get all of that kind of stuff. You get offensive linemen out there with their numbers, and all the shortstop is number 63. I just love it, man. I just can't get enough of it. I love it. I love that. I love the opening 2 days of the Masters. I love opening day of baseball, and I love opening day of spring training. I just love it.
That day you're talking about with spring training is like the equivalent of just turning on golf on a Sunday or NASCAR on a Sunday and just like taking a nap during it, because it's just like so relieving. And then you wake up and you go, who is number 94? And you look at him and he's a guy that was drafted like 5 years ago, and they just needed him to throw a few innings, and he's facing number 61. And you're like, I have no idea. And he hit a fly ball to the outfield, and there's pitchers running in the outfield as the fly ball is coming towards them. Yeah, it's definitely a fun day.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. I get into it. And the Braves showed up. They rolled into Northport, Florida at their spring training site, and they rolled in with 7,000 baseballs. 7,000 baseballs, Joe. 7,000 baseballs, 200 jerseys, 120 helmets, and 8 rolling racks of bats, just loaded with bats. 7,000 baseballs. Joe, do you know the average life of a Major League Baseball?
Like 2 pitches?
2 pitches.
Oh, wait,
it's
for real?
2 pitches. A Major League Baseball is in play on average for 2 pitches. I mean, every time it hits the dirt, they throw it out. I don't understand why. I mean, it really didn't do that much to it, but that's the truth. Let me get to the lines. We start with Paulie in the Cape. Paulie, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hello.
Hey, Paulie, what's going on?
Nothing much. I didn't get a chance to talk about some of the bizarre Super Bowl commercials. Like number 1, the flag football, the girls. I mean, come on. It's flag football.
Yeah.
Last time I played it was in 3rd grade, 4th grade.
Yeah.
But they're making this thing like, oh my God, look at the energy and the machismo-ness of flag football. And the girls are now the superhero type of players now.
Well, would you rather have? Yeah, I mean, I had a problem with the girl, running through all of the guys that they couldn't get her flagged. I mean, that's crazy. But, it's better than girls playing tackle football. I mean, flag football for girls, that's fine.
I have to. No. The lingerie league, those girls were hit. I don't care what anybody said. That lingerie league, those girls had pads on and they were hitting each other. I mean, it was like, wow.
I can't say I ever watched the lingerie league game.
Get your hands on some footage, and you're gonna say, "Oh, wow!" I mean, they weren't like hesitating to hit; they were a missile. They were hitting each other. The linebackers, the D-backs, they were hitting, tackling. It was amazing. I thought it was just to be like, "Wow, let's just put that pretty girls in lingerie with shoulder pads on." No, these girls were hitting. Yeah, take a look at it.
I'll have to take your word for it. Yeah.
Number 2, there was a Cubs commercial, especially that one with the Thom. I don't know, was that for Pringles or something like that?
Oh, for the I saw it on some other thing on one of the basketball games last night. That was the I think it was a whipped cream commercial. It was horrible.
It was something like that. Yeah,
it was horrible.
Like, dude, I almost threw up. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Other than that, baseball's right around the corner. Yay! But I'm going to be watching hockey until the draft, and then it's just 3 precious months of football again.
Are you into the Four Nations thing that starts tonight?
No, I heard you complaining about it yesterday. Like I said, get the best AAA players that are itching to show that they should be in the big league. Get the AAA guys in there. Unless you got your stud guy, you don't want to get hurt because he's definitely moving up. And just send that out there and get it over with. You don't have to worry about it.
Well, it's replacing the All-Star game. The players don't want to do the All-Star game, and they rather do this. I am very trepidatious about my guy getting hurt. Whoever my guy is, that is going to bother me if one of my guys gets hurt and how the locker room is going to be.
Like, hey, you beat me in the head, and now we're teammates. Well, that
exactly.
all gets taken away. Wait, that all gets taken away if we just send everybody's best AAA prospect. And if you want to, you got like another Aaron Judge coming up. Okay, we'll send him. Send the next guy. Let these guys show the hunger and skill that hey, I need to be in the big stage. I need to be in the big stage.
Well, what are the chances we'll get a fight between teammates? I mean, that's going to be the thing right there. What if we get a fight between teammates? That could be pretty wild. So.
But do me a favor, look up that lingerie league. I wanted to go to the Super Bowl in that thing, so I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Check it out. You'd be afraid. Bye.
All right, Paulie, I appreciate you. Joe, did you have a team in the lingerie league where you have a favorite lingerie league team or what?
See, the thing about it is I think I know of a person that has played in that league.
Oh, really?
And what he's talking about, and again, it's literally like, hey, I've seen their stuff on Instagram and those types of things.
Right.
He's not lying about how hard they hit because I mean, these girls are in shape. This is, even though the name of it is lingerie league, he's not kidding when he talks about just how jacked up some of these ladies are. They will mess you up.
I don't think they do it anymore, right? I think the lingerie league is.
I think it kind of
fold their lingerie now.
I think it evolved into like a more of a real football league without the lingerie, because they started. The lingerie was literally just like oh, hey, you have this, but they still have like shorts on and a jersey and that sort of thing, and it's kind of evolved away from the lingerie part of it.
Yeah, because you could have a wardrobe malfunction, in the lingerie league, and then you'd have a real problem there. Wolverine Dan is up next. Wolverine Dan, welcome to the show. How are you?
Well, you know what? You just put a little bug in your lingerie. I got to buy my wife.
Ooh, that's right. Friday. Friday, yeah. But that's not for her. Let's be honest, guys. You guys that are out there that are buying, you're out there buying lingerie for your wife for Valentine's Day. That's not for you. That's not for her. That's for you. You buy lingerie for her, for you.
Women like the lingerie. They want to look sexy, for crying out loud. You know what? I'm going to go to Corralejo's, okay?
Yeah.
And if you listen to the Corralejo, just break the Corralejo's name down. Corralejo's. Okay, I'm gonna go get us the blue margaritas. Oh yeah, Tommy, you throw that little. I get that pop up that pull off that box, show that lingerie, and whammo!
Yeah.
Hey, 38 years, Tom. 38 years.
I do have to get something. I gotta get something for my wife for Valentine, because very, very rarely. Do I, get off by myself, get away from home by myself, and I am now. So when I head back, I'm gonna have to stop and pick her up something it won't be lingerie though. I can guarantee that.
You know what we just did right here, Tom, for the last minute? We did a grumpy. I'm gonna call it a grumpy from now on. We're not talking sports. Hey, with that said, let's do talk sports. So, Bolton, who is the best offensive line in the NFL? Because he said that
the Philadelphia Eagles had the best offensive line in the NFL.
No. The second best.
They did.
Who's the best?
Philadelphia Eagles. They had the best offensive line. They were better.
They're freaking Lions. You got to be kidding me.
No, Philadelphia ran. They had a back run for 2,000 yards. They had the best offensive line. The Lions have a very good offensive line. The best offensive line in the NFL is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay, all right. So check this out.
Yeah.
So how about last time, Mike? Check that Wolverines, baby. Last year they were 3-17. This year they're on top of the Big Ten Conference. How about that? That coach we need to throw a much cash at that coach.
Yeah, they're playing good in basketball. There's no doubt about it. They're having a good season.
Whoa, what do you mean? Wait, that sounded kind of. The Michigan's playing good. What are you talking about? Football.
Well, what are you talking about?
I know what I'm talking about. I beat the national championship like a drum. Held it to 10 points.
What are you talking about?
He's talking basketball.
Are you talking basketball? I just said they're playing. I said they're playing well in basketball.
You went like Michigan plays football.
No, did I not, Joe? Did I not just say they're playing well in basketball?
I think I've seen this scene between two guys like this and grumpier old men.
Yeah, I just said they're playing well in basketball in a Big Ten that doesn't have a standout, one team produce, good team and whatnot. They're playing well.
What? Even Joe just said it. Didn't even know he said it. The grumpier old men, like grumpy. All right, so I finished, Tom. I just love being me. I really do. I'm a happy guy, Tom. I'm lucky, and I thank my lucky stars. Have a wonderful day, Thomas.
All right, good job by you. Joe, I did say they're playing well in basketball, didn't I?
Yeah, and then he said, did you say football? And it just.
I didn't say football.
That's why I said this is
there.
like a scene from Grumpier Old Men. It really is. It's saying the same thing and going in circles is what it was. Yeah.
You know what it was? It was a where's my toast moment. It was one of those. What a where's my toast moment is? That's where the wife says to the guy, the old wife says to the old husband, it says, what do you want for breakfast? And he says, I would like a bowl of fruit with whipped cream on it and a cup of coffee on the side. And so she goes in the kitchen and then she comes out and she's got bacon and eggs. And he looks at her and he says, where's my toast? You see what I'm saying? So it was one of those.
Yeah,
it was one of those
moments. It was
like that.
There's people that were listening and going, what are these two?
What are they talking about?
What are they arguing about?
What are we arguing about?
Yeah.
I know I said basketball, but let me get Brandon in here to end this segment. Brandon, welcome in. How are you?
Just listening to the monkey chase the weasel around the mulberry bush.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Y'all got a commercial for Lee's Magic Tunnel that Bolton does.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I hadn't heard the Lee's Magic Tunnel commercial in probably 3 years. And then Steve must have went and got his car washed or something, because then all of a sudden I start hearing Lee's Magic Car Wash commercial when it's pouring like cats and dogs. It's like a cow pissing on a flat rock out there right now. And I heard the commercial for Lee's. I heard it. Yeah.
Well, I remember Rat Cephas won a Lee's Magic Tunnel, and he said he used to work there like 30 years ago. And
Rat Cephas, there's a country I heard from. Is that dude still alive? Rat Cephas? He passed away?
No,
he passed away. Okay.
And I was going to say they ought to have a Rat Cephas special at Lee's where it starts after 5.
Yeah.
Because that's about the time he would wake up every day.
So did they used to give away Lee's Magic Carpet Ride or whatever? They used to give away certificates or something to the Lee's Magic Tunnel? Brandon says, I'm looking at Steve right now. Brandon says that Rat Cephas won a certificate to Lee's Magic Tunnel. Must not have been on this station, but all right. I think you and Wolverine Dan need to get together, Brandon. I think you guys are both talking crazy.
Well, I wanted to say you do a lot of Texas, Friday Texas.
Yeah.
How about for the Final Four of the Alabama men's and women's basketball? You ain't got to do all 7 classifications. So how about some Final Four fitness for them that'll click in sometime next week?
You're talking about for high school basketball?
Yeah.
In Alabama and girls, yeah, that's girls, not women. And girls in high school, we call them. No, I will leave that to the morning show. Those guys do a tremendous job. If anybody's going to do it, they're going to do it. They're the ones that are all over the high school girls basketball and the high school boys basketball. They do a great job with it. It's not you generally in my wheelhouse. I'm a little more of the regional guy.
Got you. Which I know you'd have a lot of games because you got 7 classifications, 4
Oh,
teams.
it's crazy.
So I
It
wouldn't
would
say
be nuts.
do all. I wouldn't say do all of them. I would just say pick a few
Right.
that you like. And I know if we could do, or even pick 2 and do them on this show. So I figured I'd throw that out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and keep in mind we're on in Tennessee too, and those guys don't. I don't talk about Tennessee high school basketball either. So we talk about the SEC and pro sports. That's what we do here. But I'll recommend it to Moulton and see if he wants to do that on his show. He might want to do something with the girls' high school basketball tournament. So we'll see.
If it's more than pick 2, we're probably not doing.
There you go.
Roll Tide.
Yeah, see it. We're going to break in here. We'll come back and wrap this one up next. It's the Thom Abraham Show. Blue Oak Barbecue, back with more right after this.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Are you trying to find a new house? Are you trying to find the right loan, the right people to do your loan? Look no further than the Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green. John Kendall, the Vice President of Mortgage with me. John, when they need a loan, and I say they, when people need a loan, it's about them.
That's right, Scott. Our whole motto is it's all about you. We're going to be okay. You're the one making the investment. We want to make sure that you're taken care of.
How do they find you?
Give us a call at 256-507-9180, or they can catch us online at bankofFrankEwing.com.
It's Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green, where they take the home loan to you and they make it all about you. Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green is an FDI insured bank as well as an equal housing lender.
NMLS number 446707.
Are you trying to find a new house? Are you trying to find the right loan, the right people to do your loan? Look no further than the Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green. John Kendall, the Vice President of Mortgage with me. John, when they need a loan, and I say they, when people need a loan, it's about them.
That's right, Scott. Our whole motto is it's all about you. We're going to be okay. You're the one making the investment. We want to make sure that you're taken care of.
How do they find you?
Give us a call at 256-507-9180, or they can catch us online at bankofFrankEwing.com.
It's Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green, where they take the home loan to you and they make it all about you. Bank of Frank Ewing in Hazel Green is an FDI insured bank as well as an equal housing lender.
NMLS number 446707.
We aren't a winning school. We are a championship school, and we make legends. Join the Crimson Tide as they look to continue to rise to the top of the NCAA basketball mountain on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an vital organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Two-minute warning is brought to you by Minuteman Express, where they do everything. These banners that are behind me here at Blue Oak Barbecue that you can't see anymore because my WCCN TV, my computer died. Once again, I left my power supply somewhere, Joe. I can't believe that I did that, right? I mean, I'm the guy that has a pair of glasses in my shirt and a pair of glasses on my face, and I can't find my glasses. I'm a guy that's arguing with Wolverine Dan, like grumpy old men.
Which one's Walter Matthau? I'm just curious. Which one is it you?
He would be Walter Matthau, and I would be Jack Lemmon in that mix. I would be Jack Lemmon, and he would be Walter Matthau, because Jack Lemmon ends up with Anne Margaret. You know what I'm saying? So, so I'm saying that I would be Jack Lemmon, and he would be Walter Matthau in that too.
I also hate the fact that I was able to make that reference and also able to follow you whenever we were going through that. That actually angers me.
Did you see Grumpier, old man?
I actually saw Grumpier before I saw Grumpy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know that Grumpier. I mean, the movie came out like in the 90s. I had no idea of what Grumpy Old Men was. Grumpier Old Men was just available, and I wanted to rent a movie, so I rented it.
I have one shot left, Joe, and it's when I'll be jetting from here to the radio station for our staff meeting as soon as the show is over. It's possible that it's there somewhere. Could I have left it there? I mean, there are a lot of wires there. You know what I mean? So with all those wires, maybe I left it in the conference room, or maybe I left it in the office, or maybe I left it where John's desk is or something. I don't know. So that's my last shot.
Oh, it'll be easy to find. There's not enough little wires around. I mean,
we got wires
for all we
everywhere.
know, it could be in the ceiling somewhere. We don't know.
I'm excited to see the progress as we continue with the progress. I think the engineer was there yesterday as well as on Monday. And, and Steve and the crew have been working feverishly to get everything up to speed. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like there. And am I going to be happy, or am I going to be grumpier after I see what I see?
You'll be grumpiest.
Grumpiest. Okay. Steve says grumpier, and you say grumpiest. I'm going to try not to be. I'm going to come in with a positive attitude. I'm going to come in with a very positive attitude, and I'm going to say very positive things about everything that's been going on. That's what I'm going to do.
It's the tone.
Tone?
Again, it's the tone. It's, you could say this looks great, or you could be like, this looks great, everybody. Mm-hmm. Those wires that are hanging from the ceiling right now, those look really nice.
You mean you guys haven't gotten those wires from the cameras up in the ceiling yet?
Well, because we're having to wait on some other things, that we're trying to work on and get approved so that we can actually finalize all that stuff.
We're not buying any more stuff. All right, we're going to make it work with the stuff we got. Whatever stuff we got, we spend a lot of money. Whatever. The last thing I'm doing is going down to the end of that hall and talking to that big man and behind that big desk in that big office of his where we could play arena football inside his office. The last thing I'm going to do is walk in there and ask for any more money. So you guys do what you got to do with what you got, okay? That's it.
We'll trade it. We'll trade it.
There you go. Trade it. There you go. We trade it. We can trade it. All right, that's going to do it for the show today. Thanks to the folks here at Blue Oak Barbecue. I'll tell you something. I had some chicken tenders that they made that were to die for. I mean, this place is outstanding. And look for more news coming from Blue Oak Barbecue in the not-too-distant future. Coming up next, it's the Paul Feinbaum Show. Go see the boys tonight at Baumhauer's at 5 o'clock. I'm Thom Abraham. Have a great day, everybody.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Travis Kelce is in no rush to make a decision on his future.